Fox 61 News at 10 starts now.
First at 10, a wind-driven heavy rain on the way just in time for the days leading into Christmas. We'll talk timing.
We depend on the nation's airlines to keep us moving, and we need them to be there for us.
Airports across the country having trouble with turbulence and travelers. Here at home, the Attorney General hoping to protect people taking to the skies.
And we are following breaking news tonight out of New Haven. A 16-year-old tragically shot and killed this afternoon. We have the latest from police. The Fox 61 News at 10 starts right now.
Thanks for joining us here on the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Ben Goldman.
And I'm Jen Bernstein. We begin tonight on the Weather Watch, tracking a storm that could create some big problems for holiday travelers. You certainly couldn't tell, though, if you were outside with the weather today. This was the scene in New Haven this afternoon, sunny and cool. But we are in a Weather Watch alert for what's coming later this week.
Tonight we have full team coverage on how this storm could impact your holiday plans. We start that team coverage with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank. Rachel, what's coming our way?
Well, a very intense storm, and it's going to affect a lot of real estate across the country. In the Midwest, it's a big wintry mess with blizzard conditions for areas like Chicago. For us, it's just rain, but unfortunately that still comes with its own set of issues. So let's talk timing. We are quiet the next couple of days. This doesn't get underway until late Thursday, and it continues through the day on Friday and into Friday evening. Periods of heavy rain, strong gusty winds, and that comes with travel issues, big puddles out there. There is a chance that we could see wind gusts high enough that it could cause a few outages across the state, and definitely scattered outages across New England, and minor to potentially moderate coastal flooding during high tide heading into Friday morning. In addition, heading into Friday night, as this whole storm moves out, temperatures will tumble, so any areas of standing water could turn slippery or icy. But for now, we are calm. Temperatures are in the 30s across the state, and as we head through the overnight hours, we'll see lows dropping back into the 20s. Tomorrow looks like a great December day. Believe it or not, this is average for this time of year. We're at the point where upper 30s are just about average. Lots of sunshine, a little bit less wind than we had out there today. So overall, feeling pretty comfortable for the time of year. And then we're quiet again on Wednesday before things head downhill later Thursday. We'll show you the future radar and talk about how this storm is affecting other parts of the country too, coming up in just a bit, guys.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Well, this week heading into the Christmas holiday will mean long lines at the nation's airports as people travel home for the holidays. With wintry weather expected in parts of the country, the possibility of delays and cancellations may probably increase.
Yeah, Attorney General William Tong is joining his colleagues across the country and calling for more power to hold those airlines accountable if flights are delayed or they're canceled. Fox 61's Tony Black joins us live at Bradley International Airport in Windsor Locks tonight with what this could mean for your next flight. Tony.
Yeah, Jen and Ben, travelers I spoke with here at Bradley International say the airports have been the busiest they've seen in a while with people flying for the holidays. Now, we've seen a couple delays today, nothing too dramatic this time of night here at Bradley International, but those delays haven't been because of weather. And our Attorney General here in Connecticut wants to protect you if that does happen.
Came up to spend Christmas in the holidays with our oldest daughter.
The flights are taking off from and coming to Bradley International ahead of Christmas. 6 days until Sunday, but travelers say the rush has begun.
I've never seen so many flights, coming and going when we were at Baltimore.
With the rush comes the possibility of delays and cancellations. A handful of them were experienced at the Connecticut airport Monday, like this flight coming from Baltimore.
I had one delay, and that was the flight coming here. It was delayed about 40 minutes, I would say.
Right now, we're going into the busiest travel season of the year, really without a lot of protection.
Attorney General William Tong is leading the charge alongside Republican and Democratic attorney generals across the country to call for more power to hold airlines accountable if this happens.
We think that the Department of Transportation, the federal Department of Transportation, needs to take stronger action.
The state attorneys general are calling for the federal government to give those like Tong the power to act if unfair delays or cancellations happen. Tong says they have some authority, but are often told by the airlines that the state's top legal official doesn't have the power to step in.
If you have a flight, you need to get to Pittsburgh, you need to get to Chicago, you need to get to California, and something happens, and the airlines could have prevented it, or they could have just not sold you a ticket for a flight they know is going to have problems, or that they know that they won't have adequate staff to cover, right? They shouldn't be selling those tickets.
The state attorneys general are calling for airlines to not sell tickets if they know they won't have the staff to fly. They also want to impose fines for extended, delayed, or canceled flights for avoidable reasons, unlike weather. Part of their efforts call for compensation if people have to stay at a hotel or book on another airline due to a delay or cancellation.
If you get stuck or you miss a flight and it's the airline's fault, that we have a way to hold them accountable and make them give you a refund, get you another flight.
Now, obviously, it's hard to plan ahead not knowing what the weather will be, but Tong says that the airlines have to have better contingency plans and also inform people of their options and their rights if the weather does impede. Now, the DOT has declared some of those practices unfair in certain circumstances, but our Attorney General here in Connecticut says that it does not do enough to protect consumers. Live from Bradley International Airport, Tony Black, Fox 61 News.
All right, Tony, thank you. And as you're getting ready for the holidays, make sure to download the free Fox 61 News app by scanning the QR code on your screen here. You can turn on alerts to get notified whenever winter weather is heading your way. All right, we've just received some breaking news tonight. A 16-year-old boy has been shot and killed in New Haven. Police say it happened just before 4:30 p.m. on Valley Street, right between Mountain Road and Harper Avenue. The Bureau of Identification responded, is still on scene. Detectives are now investigating. Police are asking anyone with information to call them. It's a developing story out of New Haven. We'll bring you more information as we get it.
A post-university student was shot and killed in New Jersey over the weekend. Police say 20-year-old Philip Urban, a freshman basketball player at Post University, was found slumped over in the driver's seat of a car in Hopewell Township, New Jersey. He was taken to the hospital and was pronounced dead from a gunshot wound. Police believe Urban was meeting up with someone and was shot sometime during that encounter. No arrests have been made. Post University releasing a statement saying in part, quote, as a member of the men's basketball team and a business administration major, Philip modeled the attributes of leadership, commitment, and hard work on the court and in the classroom. The university's counseling center will be available to support students and faculty.
Well, new tonight, a man is facing 9 years in prison for his role in an attempted robbery where a woman was shot in the stomach back in 2015. State's attorneys say 25-year-old Treasy Lopez shot an employee at Smokin' Wings restaurant April 11th after demanding money. They say Lopez ran out, dropping the gun in a nearby trash can. This was hours after Lopez participated in another robbery where a store owner was shot and killed in Bridgeport. Lopez was already facing a sentence of 30 years in prison for his role in that robbery. The latest conviction adds an additional 9 as well as 3 years with supervised release.
On to Washington, D.C. now. The House Select Committee is urging former President Trump be prosecuted on at least 4 criminal charges. It's the first time a bipartisan legislative body has made such a recommendation for a former president. Fox's Madeline Rivera reports from Washington.
The House Select Committee investigating the Capitol riot capped off one of the most extensive congressional probes in history Monday.
Aye.
The January 6th committee is going out with a bang. They voted to refer former President Trump to the Department of Justice on a number of criminal charges, including inciting an insurrection, obstruction of an official proceeding, conspiracy to defraud the United States, and conspiracy to make false statements.
Ours is not a system of justice where foot soldiers go to jail and the masterminds and ringleaders get a free pass.
Former Trump lawyer John Eastman is also facing criminal referrals. In addition, the committee is referring Republican members of Congress to the House Ethics Committee for failing to comply with subpoenas, including Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy.
Those responsible should be held accountable.
Referrals alone carry no legal weight. The DOJ is not compelled to act, but they have noted their interest in the committee's work as they conduct their own separate investigation. It's yet another hurdle for Donald Trump's 3rd presidential bid.
He is unfit for any office.
Members adopted their final report after an 18-month inquiry into what they've called Trump's premeditated conspiracy to overturn the 2020 election.
And today, he still continues to fan those flames. That was his extreme dereliction of duty.
What comes next is up to the Department of Justice. But the man former President Trump blasted for doing his duty and certifying the election says the DOJ shouldn't prosecute.
I think that would be terribly divisive in the country at a time when the American people want to see us heal.
The full release of the committee's final report is expected Wednesday, almost 2 years after the insurrection. In Washington, Malda Rivera, Fox News.